which you did know by writing to us at comments@ksco.com. In my life, there came a time when I had to make a change. You know, the things just weren't right. I looked around for someone else to blame. I searched and I reached out inside. And I knew I can be free. I can be free. I can rise above. I can be free. I can be free.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you from KSCO Radio, and I'm very glad to hear you, see you out there. Hope all's well. And I'm trying to hear myself through the headphones, and I realize I got to turn them up. That always is a good thing. All right. So anyway, it's a great day here in Santa Cruz, and I'm very happy to be here. And, you know, as I was thinking about my show today, I reflect a lot on what happens in my office over the week or the month and the different kind of, I guess you can call it, tone of the people as they come in. And, you know, we have a really pretty large practice. We see a lot of people every day. Great doctors there, great staff. We were just up meeting with another bunch of other chiropractors last Thursday. My staff took the day off so we could kind of compare notes and learn about what we could do to be there for people more, you know, because a lot of times people find themselves into my office or any kind of healthcare office because of something that's gone on too long. And that might be a day, a week, a month, 10 years. Sometimes I have people come in that have been in pain or had a condition going on for years. And I know because I've had that myself, and you've all heard my story more than likely. I might touch on it a little bit here, but the main thing that I see is like right now, this is a very pivotal time in our country and in the world. And there's a lot of stress out there. No matter what side of the divide you may be on, there's a lot of uncertainty. And this causes the stress hormone called cortisol to be released in your body on an ongoing basis. And I think Dr. Ben Fuchs was talking about that with David on the last hour. But this has a very damning effect on the body. Cortisol is supposed to be injected into the body in quick spurts in times of emergency, then it fades out so the rest of the hormones can take over. That song, We Can Be Free by Steve Funderburg and sung by the amazing, at least 11-time award winner, Tony Lindsay, is just so touching to me because, you know, there comes a time in our life where, you know, we might seem like we're overwhelmed or overburdened or there's a lot of hope has gone. And we forget that we have the ability to change our lives so easily. It's a decision away a lot of times, and that might seem ridiculous because you have so many hills to climb. But you know, you just take one at a time and one step at a time. But if you're determined enough to make a difference, you know, you will be able to make that difference. You know, so we have this time of incredible uncertainty and stress that has a huge effect on our ability to decide to go do something for ourselves, whether it's, spend money on your health care or on your family or on some project that you've been wanting to take care of, putting the time in. Sometimes we just get frozen like deer in a headlight, waiting for something to occur. And, the last time this happened was at about 2020, at the beginning of that big debacle. And the whole nation and the whole world was stunned. And the stress was incredibly high. And it took us a while to work our way out of that. And, some people never really did come out of that very well. Lots and lots of people didn't make it, period. Um, and then I thought back to 2020 or 2001 with, the trade centers and all that kind of stuff, and that was a point of devastation. So we see these along the way in our lives, and when we see them, everything isn't as normal. Things aren't going along as normal. And sometimes it will tell us that we need to do something different. Other times it will just numb us and let us think that our fate is cast and there's not a lot we can do about it. I was thinking about one of the books I wrote. It was called New Hope for Sciatica. And when I was remembering the beginning of that thing that happened a few years ago, that was the month my book was supposed to come out. And I'd published 4 books, all historical fiction: Adventures of Little Big Jim, Coaling Station A, Journey's End, and Kaleidoscope. But I thought, you know what, I should write a health book because I'm in the health field. So I decided I should join a auditors club, auditors group, or excuse me, authors group, and maybe really learn how to write. So they gave us, the directions on how to write books. And about 33 other people and myself all decided to write a book. It was mine was called New Hope for Sciatica. And we had 9 weeks to do it in. And then we were all to fly back to Washington, D.C. to have a celebration and publish our book. And so we got together the first few days. And on that flight out there, COVID was declared and it hit. And it was really pretty strange. So the next day, all of us were to publish our books, and all of us were to give some reviews because we'd all talked about our books so that we could actually get some recognition. So we're all waiting around, we're all doing this, and my book does not come up as published. And I'm asking, well, look, I'm all the way out here, I've done all this stuff to learn how to do this. I flew out to Washington, D.C. Why isn't my book published? Well, the editors and such got on the phone and started talking or trying to figure out what happened. Well, they pulled my book off the publishing. They censored my book because of something that I wrote in the auditor's note of my book. I couldn't believe it. I was so bummed. I couldn't publish my book after all that time. I eventually had to change the wording in my book, and then they would publish it. But I put the word COVID in the book. And just as I'd put that word in the book, the censors came out and my book was pulled. So I'm going to read this beginning here because I think it has importance. The message that I wrote here is important then, it's important now. It was just kind of interesting about the censorship, but here we go. It says, and it starts, this is the note from the author. As I sit in the process of writing this book, perhaps the biggest wake-up call in modern history has plagued our planet. Even as I sit and write these words, citizens of our country, and in fact the whole world, are quarantined or confined to their own homes. Entire class, cities, and even countries have been shut down, and all non-essential businesses have been asked to temporarily close their doors. the quote, deadly, unquote, coronavirus has arrived, and with it came mass hysteria. The powers that be, governments, nations, our own CDC, FDA, and let alone the World Health Organization, has been turned on its ear. This coronavirus, invisible to the naked eye, has proven the biggest terrorist of all. It is almost like our planet has been invaded from outer space and was defenseless to the aliens' attack. People are scrambling for supplies. Things as common as toilet paper and paper towels are nowhere to be found. Shopping carts have been commandeered and slammed together as frantic citizens are vying for position, grabbing boatloads of supplies off the shelves of local grocery stores, often leaving none or showing no regards for their neighbor. Not since the last World War has the world really realized such a threat to survival. And yet, perhaps, out of the rubble and ruin of an inept and now defenseless healthcare system will rise new awareness in the minds of the people of Earth. For far too many years, we have depended on Big Pharma to save the day with the next new miracle pill. Yet, with the invasion of Corona, we are left defenseless. Or are we? Did you know that the wisest and most powerful physician who ever walked this earth lives right inside of you? It reminds me of the 1939 movie called The Wizard of Oz. For the entirety of the movie, Dorothy was searching for a way home. She evaded wicked witches, flying monkeys, fell victim to patches of wild, intoxicating poppies, when the whole time she had the power to find her own way home. As Glinda the Good Witch from the North would finally reveal, all she had to do was click her heels together and her ruby slippers together and repeat, "There's no place like home. There's no place like home." Inside every one of us dwells an incredible innate intelligence. It has a purpose, and that purpose is to survive. And for eons, this innate intelligence has ensued, and we survive. It wasn't until the advent of a massive pharmaceutical cartel who put profit above people that we started down this path of magic pill dependence. Don't get me wrong, I realize how much modern medicine has added to our survival and our overcoming of hitherto overwhelming epidemics, but perhaps with the paradigm shift, it is time for the individual to take back control of his or her own health. And through the pages of this book, as we discuss new innovative ways for us to heal our own body, and in this volume, especially addressing the multi-therapeutic approach to sciatica, it is my goal and desire to help you not only address your sciatica, but to raise above the dependency of another for your amazing health potential and take the reins and learn to guide your life to where you can flourish and prosper while enjoying excellent health. So that for that message, my book was censored off of Amazon and any other sites we tried to publish it on. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And it was really a drag because I put a lot of work into the book, but now it got bestseller status, New Hope for Sciatica when it finally did come out. And you can still find it on Amazon. And if you're suffering from sciatic pain or low back pain and want to find some really great solutions you may not know about, that book may help you. I've since written another book called New Hope for Peripheral Neuropathy, and it's also called Turn Back Your Biological Clock. That book is also available on Amazon, and it can help you understand how to decrease inflammation in your body so your body can actually heal itself. So I started talking about inflammation that is predominantly caused from stress. And there are really three types of stress. There's mental, physical, and chemical. And so we do work with those type of stresses to help your body turn off the inflammation so the body can heal itself. So it's so important to understand how to handle those three. So one of the main things about chronic inflammation in the body. And I think Ben Fuchs was talking about chronic inflammation as the number one cause of chronic disease or dis-ease, which then turns into disease, is the fact that inflammation shuts down the cell's ability to communicate with the outside world of the cell, outside the cell. It stops enzymes from entering the cells, vitamins and minerals from getting in or out of the cell, toxins from getting out of the cell. It also affects hormones' ability to communicate to the cell and create different activities. So why is the cell so important? Because that's what you are. You're made up of 75 trillion cells. And, you are not 75 trillion cells. You are more than likely a spiritual being in a body, but that's a discussion for another story. We do have Easter Sunday coming up tomorrow. And so there's a lot of people that are delving into that. Who are we and why are we? And worshiping people and, of course, the Lord that's been such a great gift to this planet. But, when we're talking about your health today, if you could make a decision, and if I could ask you, what is the first thing you would like to get handled? If you could come into my office and I could wave a magic wand over you and say, what is one condition you would like to get rid of? Or what would you like to regain an ability to do? So what would that be for you out there listening? Sometimes I want to walk my dog. I can't walk my dog because he pulls and my low back hurts all the time, or my knees are bad because of my dog pulling me, or maybe I'm too inflamed. I'm swollen because my body can't digest well and I'm overweight, and that's hard on my knees or my back. It could be that, it could be headaches, it could be that I can't get out of the house because I'm always getting migraines every day. It could be upper back pain, arm pain, shoulder pain, digestive disorders, chronic things like fibromyalgia or polyrheumatica myalgia rheumatica. All these named diseases, they're all describing a condition, and a condition is only there because the body isn't working well. One thing that's really interesting is when you take a look at what we would do to get ourselves healthy in the 60s and 70s, not age-wise, but 1960s and 70s, how many medicines were out there and then how many there are now. There's just so many drugs covering symptoms. In fact, $4.7 trillion worth in this country, 4.7 trillion in healthcare spent last year, 4.3 the year before. So, and 70% of that is said to be covering up symptoms. I saw something online today that I think celebrating Pfizer's 147th birthday or something. And they said, wow, Pfizer's been in business for 147 years and still hasn't cured one disease. And they wouldn't be in business if they were curing diseases. They're managing and maintaining them. So that is the role of healthcare. It's sickness management. And if you're tired of being in sickness management, then, there's something can be done about it. But you need to understand what it is that's causing the dis-ease, or what's causing your body not to be at ease. So I'm going to take a quick break, commercial break myself, and I'm going to just promote that you come into my office for our $49 Softwave Therapy special. We are now doing acupuncture meridian points on the hand for the same whatever area you're having a problem with, in addition to the $49 therapy special, all for the same price. And that we were offering that for the month of April with the added pressure points. It's still going, but you have to call and come in this month, which ends on the 31st. So you got, I think, 10 working days left, or 8. You have next week, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the following week. Now, the other thing is, if you have heard me talk about peripheral neuropathy at all, if you're curious whether you have peripheral neuropathy, I'll explain a little bit about what it is, but we're having a workshop Wednesday and Thursday at my office. The Thursday workshop in Capitola is 6 o'clock. I'm right in the Brown Ranch shopping mall next to between FedEx and Trader Joe's, but really over to the FedEx side. But you need to call to make a reservation because we are pretty full. 831-459-9990. McCollum Chiropractic, 831-459-9990. I think the Wednesday day one, we may have one or two spots left. So call right away. Even if you leave a message, we can get back to you and reserve a spot for you. But peripheral neuropathy is a devastating progressive condition that basically steals your freedom. And, I don't know what's worse. Something like a mind altering drug that steals your mind, or one when your mind is okay, but you can't function because your body's breaking down. I don't think either one of them would be a fate that any of us should, embrace. And the interesting thing about what causes peripheral neuropathy, it's toxicity and inflammation in the body. It's the same thing that causes things like Alzheimer's and dementia. The same toxicity that affects your peripheral nerves, the nerves going down to your toes and your hands and your fingers and the blood vessels and plugs them up, also gets through something called the blood-brain barrier and affects the brain. And it will put down plaque in the brain and allow toxins in there that muck up the works and don't let your brain work right. So we will be going over that type of stuff Wednesday and Thursday this week. 12:30 Wednesday, 831-459-9990. And then Thursday at 6 o'clock, 831-459-9990. And I would love to have you come if you're curious. There's no obligation other than just show up. We do need to know you're coming, so we have seats and we'll have some healthy snacks for you. But if you're serious about getting rid of this condition or keeping your independence, this could be exactly what it is you're looking for and needing. So we will go over exactly what peripheral neuropathy is and, how it develops, why it develops, and then what the solutions are that are actually reversing it. Because we've reversed, I'd say hundreds of cases at this point. There's several of us in the country that have been consulting and working in this arena, putting our heads together, improving our systems as much as we can. And, we've recently added what are called lasers to our Softwave Therapy machine, as well as vibration plate, all these other things that we do, as well as helping the body detoxify. So it's definitely something that if you're suffering from this at all or interested, curious if you are, I would really like to invite you to come. I'll tell you what I see happen. I see people come in and they don't think they can get well because they've been told there's nothing you can do about it and put on a medication. They don't think that they should take the time themselves because there's other people, family members they need to take care of. They might think it's a financial thing. There's so many different reasons not to get well, but there's, a lot of really good reasons to get well. And if you've listened to me talk about this for a while, I wouldn't be talking about it if we weren't getting results after all these years and all this time. So it's worth coming in. Hold on a sec. I feel a sneeze coming on and I'm not sure where that button is. Oh, well, if it comes, it comes. There is a button to stop curse language and sneezing, but I'll have to figure that out. It's so fun being here in the station. And if you haven't ever been to KSCO, you should stop by. It's a station that's the only existing station that is created off of an RCA Victor recording studio. And there were a lot of them, but this is the only one. I think there's one that's a library now or something, but this is the only existing one. So here it is in Santa Cruz. Michael Zwirling's keeping it alive, and it's really cool. So I really wanted to just talk about inflammation again and talk about chronic inflammation and why it's affecting our health. So chronic inflammation or swelling in your lower extremities doesn't allow the nutrition to get to the tips of your toes. And it doesn't allow for the toxic cellular debris to get away from there. It just sits there and it kind of just dissolves your nerves and it dissolves the tissue and it dissolves the bones. And then they break down and they start to die. It's called necrosis. And the same thing happens with your hands and fingers. And the same thing happens to a great degree with the organs in your body. When the nerves start to decay, the organs don't communicate as well to the brain, even at a cellular level. You have 75 trillion nerves and cells, and nerves communicate back and forth what's going on to those cells themselves. When that breaks down, things aren't doing well. A friend of mine just brought home a 1949 pickup that he found in the neighbor's garage of some friend of his out in Lodi. A beautiful pickup. Everything inside is there, but there's no motor or chassis. But it's pretty cool. And then the other day he brought home some kind of Jeep that has a terrible body, but a good chassis, and he'll put those together and fix it up and it will be running amazing. And that's your body can do the same thing. You just want to keep it healthy. So regardless of how your health condition may be, there's so much you can do to improve it. And here we are today, right? I just turned 69 a few months ago. I'll be 70. Obviously, I know my math. But if I don't change something, the trajectory is set on where I'll go. And with peripheral neuropathy, it elevates so quickly that it actually becomes worse more rapidly. It compounds, the condition compounds. So if you're curious, don't wait, just come to the workshop. It's free. We can sit down and talk about what we can do, because I hate to see people suffer. I hate to see people, it's kind of like, you ever heard that phrase, one of the worst things that you can see is somebody who's drowning when all they have to do is stand up because they're in 3 feet of water. And some of these situations we get ourselves in, you know it as well as I do, and probably even our own selves, all we have to do is stand up and we can change our life dramatically. That's one reason you have to take health into your own hands, because at the end of the day, it's up to you, not your doctor, not your best friends, not your family, not your spouse. It's up to you. I can't tell you how many, well, I will tell you how many, lots of spouses come in and I treat them and we say, wow, it's so good. We're getting such good results with you. When are we going to see John or Betty in? They just, they're too busy being sick, in so many words. What do you mean? Well, they like their alcohol, or they like their, cigarettes and cigars, and they can't stop eating, and they're diabetic or pre-diabetic, or, they just sit on the couch all day, or what have you, or they just work in toxic chemicals and their health is going down and down and down. So you can't necessarily change somebody's mind. I think we all know that, but you can, as the old phrase goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But you can try to make him thirsty. And that's the trick. Getting people, first and foremost, they have to really understand that they do have a health condition and it's destroying their life. And it might be that it's destroying a relationship with you or another family member. You got to find out what's going to give them the understanding that they really need to do something about this, because it's not just about them. There might be other people that are being affected by this problem they're having as well. So that's what we kind of look at, is what's kind of ruining their life or the people that they're with. And so once we kind of figure it out, wow, is it low back pain? Is it this thing called peripheral neuropathy? Is it diabetes? Is it thyroid? What have you? Because, diabetes, they just give you medications, and it's called wait and see medicine. Same with thyroid. It's wait and see medicine. Give you this and wait to see what you need next. And it never has a good ending. Very rarely does it have good ending, except for emergency medicine. I've told this story many times where my appendix ruptured in 2021, and it felt like I got shot with a shotgun. And I was in the hospital for 5 days, and they did emergency surgery. And thank God for Western medicine and modern medicine, because I wouldn't be here today. So that was, a good thing. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be on any drugs for this. I'm 69. I'm not on any chronic medication of any kind. I do take vitamins. I try to eat as healthy as I can. I do enjoy foods, that sometimes aren't the healthiest, but that's what life's about. You want to be able to live life to its fullest. And you have to do that by keeping yourself healthy to some degree. One of my friends, Dr. John Baker, always used to say, life, life isn't to be coddled and protected and nurtured and kept away from, the world. It's to be lived, full speed, sliding into the grave with one martini in one hand, chocolate in the other, and going, woohoo, what a ride. Well, maybe not the martini and the chocolate, unless it's organic dark chocolate. But we want to be able to enjoy ourselves. And sometimes we've done that too much to begin with, and we are regretting it now. But it doesn't mean that you can't bring yourself up. A lot of my practice is what we call maintenance patients. Those are the people that have come in with a problem. We've gotten them to a point where they got their life back again, and they are able to do those things that they didn't think they'd ever do again. And then they just come on for, a maintenance adjustment. Wow, isn't that cool? Like taking your car and get the oil changed or your teeth cleaned. Your spine, your nervous system is so important. You have 31 nerves that come out of your brain down through your spine. They exit the vertebra, including the sacrum, 31 nerves. And they go to 75 trillion cells. So each one of those nerves going from the toe to the brain and back, or whatever organ or tissue it's going to, has to work right. And if it doesn't, the wrong signal is going to cause a dysfunction, and the body's going to get sick, or damage is going to be occurred, whether it's arthritic stuff from a physical condition, organs causing systemic organic disease, or even affecting your brain. So at any rate, I'm just going to go back to talking about the TRT machine. If you don't have peripheral neuropathy, but you have some kind of aches and pains, low back pain, anything like that, ankle, knees are great, shoulders are great. The Softwave Therapy machine, it's a $49 special to come in and see if it helps. You spend that much money on dinner for one anymore, and all that does is get digested, and it's gone in a day or two. But when you get a Softwave Therapy treatment, and it changes your health of that joint, it changes you, it changes your whole body, your demeanor, it changes your future, changes your desire to live, because you don't have that. One of my staff members came, and I've heard this more and more and more, but people talk about having a lot of problems in their lives, a lot of situations and problems occurring. But when all of a sudden, when you have a health condition, there, you only have one problem. and that's getting that health condition fixed. We've all experienced that, whether it's a toothache, food poisoning, something to do with your digestive system, headaches, low back pain, a big cut, sprain, strain. Will it ever go away is usually what comes into my brain. And even though I've been in practice for 35 plus years, whenever I get hurt doing something stupid, I'll think, oh my gosh, it's not going to go away this time. Even though I know better, I still think that way. By the way, I have a new doctor at my office, Dr. Rich Gringeri, and we call him Dr. G. And he's amazing. He's actually been in practice a little bit longer than me. We went to school together, went to chiropractic school together. And he was decided, nah, he's not ready to retire. So he's been working with me Monday, Wednesday, Friday. People love him. And he's so kind and just such a great adjuster. So I really recommend you guys come on in. If you haven't been in a while, call up and go, hey, listen, I listened to Dr. McCollum, and he was talking about Dr. Gringeri. I'd say come in for, if you've been a patient before, and say, hey, I just want to come in and talk to you, me, Dr. McCollum, about my health condition and see if we can help alleviate it or reverse it or improve it. And I'll introduce you to Dr. Gringeri. It's amazing. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Dr. McLeod's there Tuesday and Thursday. We have this phenomenal staff that you will love. They'll just take care of you from the minute you walk in to the minute you leave. And it's just a pleasure to go to work every day because our staff is so great. You know, like we always say, you spend more time with the people you work with than your family typically. So you better have a good group. So I've been talking quite a bit about the nervous system, and I've talked quite a bit about the health of the organs, the endocrine system, which is your hormone system. That is something that is influenced by your environment. So all of your senses, whether it's sight, smell, taste, hearing, touch, all of those send signals through the eyes, ears, temperature, what have you, to the brain, and the brain interprets that. And as long as there's not an emergency, or even if it is, it sends signals to the master glands in your brain called the hypothalamus and the pituitary. And these emit stimulators to the hormones and gets hormones. They're called, they create all these hormones for all of the different functions of the body, whether it's reproduction, digestion, energy, fight or flight type things, rest and digest. So your body's got this two opposing nervous systems called the autonomic nervous system. It's the automatic nervous system, which is the rest and digest nervous system. And that's the vagus nerve that comes right out of right below your ear. On each side, there's a bump. That nerve comes out of there, and it's called the vagus nerve, longest nerve in the body. Vagus means wanderer. And it wanders around to all of the different organs in your body. And that's what keeps your heart beating at night, and your liver quivering, and your kidney working, and your large intestine functioning. That nerve comes right out of the brain, but exits the spine immediately. Then the other one I've talked quite about, that's the one that produces the cortisol. That's a stress hormone. And that one inflames you and causes all kinds of chronic disease, because chronic inflammation causes chronic disease. And you can't have both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system on at the same time. One speeds it up, the other slows it down. So the parasympathetic is like putting the brake on, and that's the organ rest and digest. And then the sympathetic is like putting the pedal to the metal. You can't drive a car and have both a foot on the brake and the gas pedal at the same time. It just doesn't work. So your body needs to shift back and forth between those two. And when you've got vertebral subluxation, or that's where nerves are pinched, or chemical problems from toxicity, inflammation and in the joints or in the body or at the cellular level or in your brain, your body can't function well. So the main thing is I probably making it way more complicated than it is. The simple fact of the matter is chiropractic frees up the nervous system. One delivered adjustment can create a miracle. We have miracles in our pockets at our office, and we love to hand them out every day. And sometimes we forget that one adjustment, that miracle adjustment, what it does by turning on its portion of those 75 trillion cells and reconnecting the cells to the brain and the brain back to those cells. And then as an orchestration, the body can stay healthy and move forward. So if you haven't ever been to a chiropractor or a corrective care chiropractor, then I recommend you find one. We're in town in Capitola, and I never charge to sit down and talk to anybody about their health. So you can just call and say, can I book a meeting with Dr. McCollum to talk about my health? If it looks like we can help you or you're right for our office or we're right for you, we will discuss where to go from there, any fees up front, and what we may be looking for. If you already have a problem that's just owning you and stopping you from functioning and you're sick and tired of it, and it seems like a physical condition, perhaps the Softwave Therapy $49 special would be the way to go. You have nothing to lose except 49 bucks, but even then you'll have an x-ray of the area. So you can't get an x-ray anywhere in town for 49 bucks. So if you come in, we do a consultation, I'll take an x-ray of the area unless you already have one. There's been some kind of condition that says don't do it, then I wouldn't do it. But other than that, we would make sure that we know what it is we're working on with the Softwave Therapy machine. The sound comes out 3,358 miles an hour, goes right through healthy tissue, but bumps into scar tissue and starts to help that remold back into healthier tissue by bringing your own stem cells to the area so it can lay down a new pattern of healthy tissue, increases blood flow so you can get nutrients to the area, get oxygen and nutrients so the area can function well. This is why it works so well with peripheral neuropathy, because when we do the stem cell treatment on the feet, you're getting new blood supply, where a lot of times what's causing it is the blood vessels are drying up or dying or clogging, as in things like diabetes, but other conditions as well dry up or those blood vessels. So the tissue, the bone, the toenails, the skin, the ligaments and tendons, and the nerves themselves start to dry up. So you lose the feeling in those things, and that can cause such a major problems as not knowing that you cut yourself, not knowing you have a piece of glass or splinter in your foot, not knowing that you're stepping on a coal at the beach, not giving you coordination back and forth to where your feet are. These things are so devastating, but they come on so slowly, it's almost you don't know that it's there till it's there. But we can measure those. We can measure 7 different nerves in your feet for different senses. So we can give you a actual number of what percentage you've lost. And then based on that, I can tell you how many people I've treated in that realm and what the chances are for us to get what kind of results with you. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to spend the next couple minutes talking about what we do regarding how you think about yourself in the office or in life, and it's called vitamin G. So vitamin G is an amazing vitamin. It's not enough people have it. We have it bottled at my office. You can come and get one. Get your own bottle of it. We get people coming by all the time asking for bottles of vitamin G. You might ask what it is. I'm going to read the bottle here. It says, McCollum Family Chiropractic, vitamin G, 100% pure gratitude. Wow, a bottle of pure gratitude. That's pretty cool, in vitamin form. And then it says, don't keep out of reach of children. Huh. You think children can be more grateful? I don't know. I'll let you determine that. But when you read the directions, it says, hold bottle in hand every morning and think of 10 things you're grateful for. Express gratitude to the first 10 people you see and repeat often. So when I wrote this, I had high hopes that this would happen. A lot of times some people can do that. Other people have a hard time being grateful for much at all. So if that is your case, I just ask you to hold the bottle in your hand and think of one thing you're grateful for. Maybe it's just living in Santa Cruz. If that's the only thing you can be grateful for, then be that. But truly appreciate the fact that you're here. And these are the nutritional factors of this. Vitamin G may reduce brain fog. It may increase optimization, balance the autonomic nervous system. We were talking about that by upregulating the parasympathetic response, reducing oxidative stress and cellular inner inflammation. So how could gratitude do that? How could just thinking gratefulness reduce the inflammation in your body? Because when you balance or when you're grateful, the parasympathetic, the rest and digest nervous system kicks in, and that is going to decrease inflammation. Also, when you're grateful, serotonin receptors are more active, and that's a feel-good hormone that's going to get you to feel better as well. Okay, thus improving cellular function. How is being grateful improving cellular function? Well, if you decrease the inflammation because of relaxation and turning the body on by getting the autonomic nervous system working better, you will improve the body function. You're going to increase mental clarity. I got to say, it may increase mental clarity, focus, and productivity. It will optimize mitochondrial energy. That's the power plant in the cell. Increase the body's production of serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. Now, that's pretty much proven that they've done studies with people being grateful or angry or looking at, flowers and babies versus war. And they've seen that the feel-good transmitters are secreted more and utilized more on the positive side of things. So these can increase your oxytocin, increasing your happiness, improving your sleep. And I like this one. It could also improve your general likability. I know I probably need that. Where's that vitamin G? Vitamin G has also been shown to unleash your own innate intelligence, allowing the greatest physician who ever lived, that lives inside of you, to do its miracle, and that is to do what it does best, and that's to heal your body. Side effects, every bottle of something has side effects. So side effects, all of the above. So everything that I mentioned is a side effect of gratitude. There is a warning here, as there has to be on all bottles. It says warning. This product has not been approved by the FDA, CDC, NIH, FBI, CIA, or WHO, World Health Organization. So here we have a supplement that hasn't been approved by anybody, but it has all the effects of making you feel better, all right, and getting healthier. There is supplemental facts on it. Supplement facts, it's serving size unlimited, so you can take as much of it as you want. The amount per serving, a daily dose, it has 0% sugar, 0 fat, 0 protein, 0 calories, but 100% gratitude. Okay, it's BPA free, naturally sourced, environmentally sustainable, animal tested, gluten-free, non-GMO, 100% organic ingredients, shade grown, harvested by hand, no forever chemicals, and packaged with love. So this is vitamin G, and you can get this at my office. Come get your own bottle of it, or somebody you know needs a bottle. Come by and ask for a couple bottles and say, hey, my friend needs some vitamin G, and we will give you as many bottles as you want, depending on what we got in stock. Because we do these by hand. My staff puts these together. I put them together with love, and they're free for the taking. So that's one of the biggest things that we love to do is we love our patients and our staff to feel that they're appreciated. And that's one reason I'm on the radio show, because it's fun just trying to get across a little bit more about what you could do to be healthy yourself, what things that you could do to help your body heal. And the greatest physician who ever lives right inside of you. So you can always go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Duncan McCollum. I have well over 150 videos up there. Dr. Duncan or McCollum Wellness Radio podcasts, anywhere there's podcasts, if you drive a lot. I've got over 200 podcasts all on health there you can listen to. We're on TikTok now, Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I got word that one of my things went semi-viral, whatever that means. And so that's pretty cool. And Instagram, Facebook, all those things. We're just trying to make an impact out there in the world. So please follow us on YouTube, Dr. Duncan McCollum on YouTube. That would be great. I'd appreciate it. My staff would, because they work hard to try to get those things up there so you can do it. And then again, if you want to come find out about peripheral neuropathy, you can come this week, Wednesday, 12:30. And it's for first-time people only, because we do have limited seating. Unless you have questions and you're going to want to sit down and talk to me afterwards about, or we can set an appointment to talk about what we can do to help you. But I really would love to meet you and see if we can figure out a way for you to be healthier and happier. Because if it's going to be, it's up to you. I wish I could say if it's going to be, it's up to me. I can only say that about myself. So at any rate, this is KSCO Radio, Dr. Duncan McCollum, and it's been great talking with you again. I'll be here next week, but McCollum Wellness Radio, YouTube, Dr. Duncan McCollum, join that. That would be really helpful for me. If you've enjoyed any of my shows, if you could do that, that would help my word get out to more people. And other than that, we're going to go out with Steve Funderburg and Tony Lindsay, and we'll see you next week.
We will rise above. We will rise above. Yeah, yeah, yeah.